We acknowledge that Tri-Cities Community Television operates on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coquitlam First Nation. We thank the Coquitlam who continue to live on these lands and care for them along with the waters and all that is above and below.
At a civic ceremony in Coquitlam, 2 longtime community leaders were recognized with the city's highest honor. On March 9, 2026, the Freedom of the City of Coquitlam was presented to John Cashore and Mary O'Neill. Their recognitions mark the 13th and 14th recipients of the distinction since the program began in 1991. The previous award was given in 2021 to community advocate Sandy Burpee, who became the 12th honoree. The rare recognition is reserved for individuals whose contributions have had a lasting impact on the civic life and well-being of the community. For Tri-Cities Community TV's local journalism initiative, I'm Yuna Fahim.
I'm going to call meeting order to be Stewart up there from the Marion Place Council meeting, and this is special. And now invite the honor guard and the piper to escort the 2 recipients into council chamber. Thank you very much. There is a tradition in the Scottish culture, the Bible culture, that one must pay the paper, one must pay the time, but such things never happen in council chambers. We'll pay later. I do want to acknowledge, though, because Garth Newlands, the pipe major, gave me his challenge coin, and I feel like now I really owe him a glass of scotch. It's a magnificent challenge coin for the Cedar Hill, Caledonia, and I thank you very much. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this very special Freedom of the City ceremony. I would now ask all those who are able to please rise for this salute. We already did that. Thank you, and be seated. You don't give me enough time to rehearse. I need more and more as time goes on. Let me begin by acknowledging with gratitude and respect that the name Coquitlam was derived from a Coquitlam word Coquitlam, which means red fish up the river. I'm honored to be mayor and to live in a city that has its name, an indigenous name. To be with you today on the traditional and ancestral lands of the Coquitlam First Nation and other Coast Salish peoples, people who become friends of ours and people who share their land with us. Freedom of the City is the highest honor a municipality can bestow. And tonight we're pleased to be granting our 13th and 14th honors here in Coquitlam. This recognition is reserved for individuals whose substantial contributions have made a lasting impact on our community and beyond. It is both a celebration of personal achievement and a reflection of the values we hold as a city values of service and leadership, compassion, and stewardship. This is actually a formal ceremony. It's in the legislation, and this next part will be the formal vote. Council has already decided on this, by the way. Just so you know, spoiler alert. But Council will now proceed with the ceremonial vote to grant the freedom of the city upon this year's recipient, and the vote would be that the honor of freedom of the city be conferred upon John Cashore and Mary O'Neill.
Second.
Moved by Councillor Morrison, seconded by Councillor Asmussen. All in favor? All opposed? Anybody at all? No? It's actually an important condition that this must be unanimous. This must be someone that everyone agrees deserves this award. And these two recipients not only met that test, but exceeded it. I will now invite John Cashore to please rise as we begin the formal presentation. John has dedicated more than 6 decades to public service, strengthening not only Coquitlam, but also communities across British Columbia and beyond, in fact, through leadership in faith, in public office, in environmental stewardship, and social justice. An ordained United Church minister who made Coquitlam his home in 1973 when I was just a baby. His exemplary service has included a range of public service roles. He served as member of the Legislative Assembly for Coquitlam Maillardville and held senior cabinet roles, including Minister of Environment, Lands and Parks, Minister of Aboriginal Affairs, Minister of Labour. And as the person who succeeded John as MLA for Coquitlam Maillardville, I will say that it was quite cold in his shadow. I took over his office at 1108 Austin Avenue, as did Selena and Diane's here. And we now have the 6th MLA of Coquitlam Maillardville using that same office. I didn't beat you. I didn't beat John in an election. I would never have run against John, and I said that repeatedly. I would never run against John. Everybody loves John. And then John announced his retirement, and someone stepped up. A couple of us stepped up, and one of us was chosen. And I thank you for the service you did to Coquitlam Maillardville that made the job of your successors easier. During his time as senior chair of another one of my passions, the BC Mental Health Review Panel, he provided steady leadership in strengthening fairness, dignity, and accountability within the mental health system. While serving as superintendent of the First United Church, he helped establish the church's Social Housing Society, which played a key role in affordable housing initiatives in Vancouver's downtown east side. Throughout his career, he advocated for Indigenous relations, for restorative justice, and for community well-being initiatives. He contributed to the protection of significant natural areas, including Pinecone Bird Provincial Park and Tlahutum Regional Park, a new name for the park with the worst name, Colony Farm Park, which is now Tla'ahuatl Regional Park. As chair of the advisory board for the Musqueam management area, he provided guidance on balanced, long-term natural resource management to help maintain this globally significant wilderness and ecosystem in perpetuity. John has served with distinction for many years, and this honor adds to the accolades he has already received, including the Queen Elizabeth II Diamond Jubilee Medal, honorary memberships with the Burke Mountain Naturalists and the Rivershed Society of BC, and the naming in his honor of Cashore Way in the Lower Lowy neighborhood, named by City of Coquitlam in 2015. Now, on behalf of Council and the City of Coquitlam, I will present John with this scroll, which reads, it reads, John Cashore, whereas John Cashore has served the City of Coquitlam, British Columbia and beyond through a lifetime of leadership and public service in ministry and social justice and the government, including Indigenous relations, mental health advocacy, restorative justice, affordable housing, environmental protection, and the preservation of natural lands. And whereas John Cashore's outstanding achievements have made a significant and sustained contribution to the city's life and culture, and have been recognized and honored outside of Coquitlam, and indeed outside of BC. Therefore, he has been awarded Freedom of the City by the City of Coquitlam, effective March 9th, 2026. Freedom of the City is the highest honor that Coquitlam can grant to those who have served the community with great distinction. Presented by me on behalf of the City of Coquitlam, Richard Stewart, Mayor. I should have started with this. We have a special artifact in the room tonight, partly to refer to how dignified this session is. There is a hardwood box. At the center of that table, we placed the plaques in that box. That box is currently in the custody of one of our staff members here at City of Coquitlam, who has inherited it down through the years, because that's where all of the important documents used to go for one of our prime ministers. The initials on the top of the box are J.A.M. John A. MacDonald's document box, the pile of work that he would swear at every morning when he came in to see how much work he had to do, I do it now, was in that box. And today, some other important documents have been laid there out of respect. So here we are. Freedom of the City, the highest honor bestowed by the City of Coquitlam, is awarded to John Cashore in recognition of his outstanding and sustained contributions to the city life and culture, which have also been recognized beyond Coquitlam. There's this really expensive metal. Congratulations again, John. Mary O'Neill. Who brought with her to the Dr. Charles Best cheerleading squad. Mary O'Neill, the second recipient tonight being recognized, has devoted her life to safeguarding and uplifting students, families, and educators across Coquitlam and the Tri-Cities through transformative leadership in education, crisis response, and community care. Crisis response means a lot to many of us, and to know that moment is to understand the heart of Mary O'Neill. A long-time Eagle Ridge resident and deeply respected educator. Her distinguished contributions included putting up with my kids. Sorry. I was going to edit that. Include nearly 4 decades with School District 43 as a teacher, as a counselor, as a vice principal and principal, most recently at Charles Best Secondary School, shaping generations of students and mentoring fellow educators. Helping establish the district's critical response team and crisis response handbook, advancing coordinated crisis leadership, suicide prevention training, and regional response and debriefing protocols. Those are hard topics. And Mary led them, supporting the development of the district's teen parent program and leading Coquitlam Alternate Basic Education, CABE, as head teacher and counselor, ensuring vulnerable youth have pathways to graduation and to hope. Acting as a founding contributor to the Tri-Cities' first Restorative Justice Initiative, now called Communities Embracing Restorative Action, or CIRA. Strengthening community-based accountability and healing. Providing long-standing leadership with the Talitha Coombs Society, now she's president, while continuing hands-on volunteer work as an educator, counselor, mentor, and steadfast source of practical support. Guiding the next generation of counselors as an instructor at City University of Seattle, supervising teachers primarily from School District 43 as they complete their master's degree in counseling, earning herself a master's in education and counseling from the University of British Columbia and a Bachelor of Arts in sociology and psychology from Simon Fraser University, and practicing as a certified clinical counselor, family therapist, and member of the National Association of School Psychologists. Mary's decades of passionate and principled leadership have strengthened the social fabric of our community. And this honor adds to the many recognitions she has received, including the BC Achievement Community Award, as well as leadership roles with the Archdiocese of Vancouver's Pastoral Council, St. Joseph's Parish Council, and the Education Committee at Archbishop Carney Regional Secondary School. Now, on behalf of Council and the City of Coquitlam, I will present Mary with this scroll, which reads, very similarly to the last one. Mary O'Neill has served the City of Coquitlam, the Tri-Cities, and beyond through a lifelong commitment to education, to student well-being, and community care, including inclusive education, crisis response and prevention, restorative justice, counseling in mental health support, support for women and families, and leadership in social services. And whereas Mary O'Neill's outstanding achievements made a significant and sustained contribution to the city's life and culture, and have been recognized and honored outside of Coquitlam. Therefore, she has been awarded Freedom of the City by the City of Coquitlam, effective March 9th, 2026. Freedom of the City is the highest honor that Coquitlam can grant to those who have served the community with great distinction. Presented on behalf of the City of Coquitlam, signed by me. Days left to learn this job. That's me counting, and I'm sure it's you too. Okay. We will now invite our recipients to share a few remarks in the order in which they received. We begin with John. You have 5 minutes. No.
Your worship, members of council, and fellow citizens, I'm deeply honored to receive the Freedom of the City Award. I have proudly called Coquitlam home for half a century. In 1973, when my wife Sharon and I moved our family here, we didn't know exactly what the future would hold. Sharon and I and our 4 children flourished in Coquitlam's growing, thriving community. We cherished the kindness of neighbors, effective leadership, beautiful parks, committed public servants. The RCMP, whose presence here today is a tremendous honor. The heritage and historic community of Maillardville, a strong social fabric, gifted teachers, and abundant opportunities for our city's children. And Sharon's career as a teacher and counselor with the Coquitlam School District. I share this award with my family and with my community. It is a testament to the dedication of many with whom I've had the privilege of working, including Don Black and Linda Oscarson, who kept me in the straight and narrow all those 15 years that I was the MLA. And they're here today. Positive change is always the result of careful consideration and collaboration. I want to credit the real impact of all those in the background, researching, advising, guiding, implementing, including public servants, experts, volunteers, activists, and advocacy groups. Thank you deeply. After graduating from UBC, I served as a United Church minister in various locations throughout the years. Then I was asked to consider running for the position of MLA in Coquitlam. As a novice politician in the early years of my term, I was so fortunate to be mentored by sitting members of the Coquitlam Council. It's wonderful when elected representatives work together for the public good. In a democracy, government and opposition tussle in seeking to have enough votes for constituencies. I often wonder if governance at the local level has more potential for elected representatives to work together for valued outcomes. Regardless of political affiliation, it is an honor to be involved along with others in enabling future generations to achieve results of lasting significance that they in their time can be proud of their future. As I approach my 91st birthday, I look back on the close to 15 years I served as the MLA here. And I feel fortunate for the opportunities to contribute to the city of Coquitlam and the province of BC. When people ask me what I did for a living, I respond by saying that I had the two jobs you can't talk about at Thanksgiving dinner. Religion and politics. In my retirement, I've found meaning through continued involvement in social justice issues as well as advocacy for the environment. It brings me great joy to point out that following my retirement, you, Mayor Stewart, were elected MLA for Coquitlam Maillardville. I want to congratulate Mary O'Neill, who is also receiving this award. Thank you, Mary, for your valued service. Once again, Your Worship and members of Council, I deeply appreciate the honor bestowed upon me. It is a highlight of my life. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, John. Please be seated. They told me, follow the script. Mary, would you please join us at the podium?
Mayor, councillors, honored guests, friends, and neighbors, thank you. I am deeply moved to receive the freedom of the City of Coquitlam. This is an honor I never imagined receiving, and certainly not one I accept alone. For more than 45 years, Coquitlam has been my family's home. It's where our children grew up, where friendships took root, and where I was shaped again and again by the people I had the privilege to work alongside. So tonight, my first feeling is gratitude. Gratitude for a community that has given me far more than I have ever given it. My career in School District 43 was a privilege from beginning to end. I worked with extraordinary teachers, counselors, support workers, QP staff, and administrators. People who showed up every day with compassion and courage. Whatever contributions I may have made as a teacher, counselor, vice principal, or principal were possible only because I was surrounded by colleagues who believed deeply in young people, especially those who were struggling. I thank them for their partnership, their humor, and their unwavering commitment to students. I am also grateful to the members of the district's critical response team. Together, we walked with students, staff, and families through some of their hardest days. The strength and dignity I witnessed in those moments taught me more about community than any textbook ever could. I share this recognition with every one of you who answered those calls, often quietly and without fanfare. That same belief that people are more than their worst moment led me beyond the school system and into restorative justice. My interest in this field began with a small group of people who believed that healing and accountability could coexist. That early initiative grew into what is now CERA, Communities Embracing Restorative Action. I want to acknowledge the volunteers, including Freedom of the City Recipients and Burton, who's here tonight, the facilitators and the community partners who built that program from the ground up. You showed our city what it means to repair harm with humanity. And of course, my heart is now with the Talitha Coup Society. Serving as board president has been one of the great blessings of my life. The women of Talitha Coup, women rebuilding their lives with courage, honesty, and hope, are the true heroes of this story. I also want to honor past and present staff, volunteers, donors, and community partners, including the City of Coquitlam, who make it possible for the women, mothers, and children to heal together. The phrase Talitha Coup means, little girl rise up, and I have seen that rising in women reclaiming their dignity, in children finding safety, and in families discovering new beginnings. This award belongs to them as much as to anyone. You know, looking back over the years, I realized that my approach has always been quite simple. Love and trust God. Be kind, and never be indifferent to the pain and needs of others. Whether in a classroom, a crisis, or a community circle, the belief that all people matter has guided everything I've tried to do. I can't really speak about any of this without speaking about family. Recalling these memories makes me more than a little emotional, because it opens the door to growing up in a large, boisterous family of 4 boys and 4 girls, led with laughter and love by my mother and father. I wouldn't be standing here tonight if it weren't for their strong faith and limitless love. Here's to the McKinnon clan. That same foundation has carried me forward with my O'Neill family, including my late parents-in-law and all my wonderful in-laws. My husband, Terry, and our sons have been my anchor from the very beginning. They have supported every late meeting, every late night phone call, and every new project I said yes to. Their love has been the quiet, steady foundation beneath all this work. Today, that love has only multiplied with the addition of 2 daughters-in-law and 4 grandchildren. I love you guys. Finally, I want to thank the City of Coquitlam. This honor reflects something I have seen time after time. That when people choose compassion over judgment and community over isolation, remarkable things can happen. So tonight I accept this recognition with deep humility and profound gratitude. I accept it on behalf of the educators, counselors, volunteers, and community members who have walked this journey with me. And I accept it with hope. Hope that our city will always be a place where no one is invisible, where every person is supported, and where everyone is invited to rise. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you, Mary. Please be seated. Now we'll see if we can all follow instructions. Members of council will now be invited to offer brief remarks. Would anyone like to say anything? It's all been said, I know that. It is unanimous. Sandy Burpee, you are no longer the only Freedom of the City recipient in Coquitlam. The lift, you could just feel the weight lifted off your shoulders. We thank you very much for your service, and we are most pleased to have you joined by two such distinguished citizens. Thank you. Also, I'll quickly acknowledge some former council members that are in the audience. Councillor Finn Donnelly, as he was then. Subsequently, Member of Parliament and Member of the State Assembly, Councillor Chris Wilson. After the 25 election, the person who spoke in the legislature on my behalf was Diane Thorne. She always said things better than I would have. And he's been mentioned already, but Terry O'Neill. When we hosted his departure ceremony, Terry being the long-serving, long-suffering editor, we misspelled some things on the board on purpose, and we didn't do it. We didn't do it today. If you could just see him cringing and wanting to go up there with a marker and correct it. We got it right today. On behalf of council and the City of Coquitlam, I want to once again congratulate our Freedom of the City recipients. Your leadership, your compassion, and your commitment have strengthened this community in ways that will be felt for generations. We're doing this on Commonwealth Day, by coincidence, and the word kind of has something to do with what we do today. We get together and we try and figure out how to work together to make a better society. And we heard from both of the recipients about mental health, about suicidality and the challenges of that so many struggle through in our society. The importance of housing and the importance of support for those who are struggling. We heard from both two people who were deeply supported and guided by their faith. And behind me, and there was a comment as well about people who are not. People are more than their worst moment. And I do want to thank the Honor Guard for the RCMP. Several of us had the opportunity to go to Depot in Regina and see how they're trained and see the realities that policing is becoming and evolving into. Policing now does a lot more of the mental health work that society is placing upon their shoulders, and the compassion and the work of our uniformed members needs to be recognized. Oh. I see a room full of people who believe that people are more than their worst moment and that compassion is over judgment. Let's put compassion over judgment. I thank our recipients. I thank you all for joining us this evening. It's a privilege to formally recognize your service tonight, and we will now invite the Honor Guard and Council to the inner horseshoe for some more photographs, after which we will invite Council back to their seats because they have some work to do still, and ask all to rise for the Honor Guard to exit the room. But that's not yet. Right now it's photo. Okay, now I'll ask you all to please rise while the Honor Guard prepares to leave the room. Okay, we can all be seated unless you don't want to sit through a long council meeting and instead you'd rather enjoy the refreshments outside. Those are both options.